time's your meeting? Okay. I'm good.
Good.
Do we have enough for 4? We have 4, right? Do we have Steve? We got 4 on the phone.
Steve, yep. So I think we're good
You
to
can
go.
call it. You can call it.
All right, we'll call the Thursday, November 9th, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting to order. We have a roll call.
Tobar?
Here.
Weiner?
Here.
Canales? Rivera? Piana? Johnston?
Here.
And Stahl? Here. We have a quorum.
All right, having said that, considered a public meeting, I suppose. Do I have to do anything special for that?
No, you have to approve the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay. So, what we have on the agenda is a consideration of a security agreement between lender and developer for Ferndale House. Do we
Need a motion
for that?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody want a motion for the agenda?
So moved.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Let's see. I don't know how to make this easier.
Do you want to put him in the middle? Maybe?
I'm going to move you in the middle.
Don't drop him. I'm hearing music.
Yes.
Well, he's unmuted so that he could talk. He mutes it when it sounds like he goes away. What he said.
Okay, and I need a second.
I second.
All right. You want to take a vocal roll or our vote on it? Not prepared.
All those in support?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What are we voting for?
The agenda.
Oh,
Agenda.
yeah. I vote aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, what was the vote for?
The agenda.
To approve the agenda.
Oh, okay, I vote for.
Okay. That passes.
Okay. Good. All right. So having said that, does anybody want to present anything or have a discussion on this? As far as I've read, there's an agreement here for the authority to review and ultimately put it up for vote for approval. What in my mind, to recap what it is the Ferndale 9 Living is looking for to assign their repayment or reimbursements over to a lending authority, TFC National Bank.
Do you want me to do this? Okay. The agreement is, it's a security assignment agreement. It's only in the event that Ferndale 9 Living defaults on their agreement with their lender. It has nothing to do with the Brownfield reimbursement. The way that the Brownfield reimbursement is worded, we will reimburse Ferndale House as appropriate with any Brownfield capture based on approved expenditures that they have. That will go on normal. This does not affect that. The only time this comes into play is if the TCF National Bank sends us a notification and says that Ferndale House is in default of their agreement between the lender and Ferndale House. They have to notify us in writing, and then any proceeds that would be reimbursed for actual expenses will then be reimbursed to the lender, not the developer. And only until their default is remedied, and then it would go back to the regular thing. So there's no exposure for the Brownfield. There's no exposure for our funds. It's just basically a 6-page agreement on who the check gets made out to, and it's only if they are default in their loan. And it's on them it's on the bank to notify us. We don't have to do any due diligence when we make the payments. They just have to notify us. So we don't have any additional work or running around or anything to do in this agreement. But it is something that the lender has requested in order to secure the note. It's kind of like if you're familiar with a construction lien on someone's home, it's really the same thing.
I do have a question, and maybe a concern. Now, it looks like in the second paragraph that the lender was requiring this for additional funds. Is this something that more money was needed that was unexpected at the initial planning stages? And if we get, because I'm new to the board, so I haven't seen this type of assignment before, if we approve this assignment, are we setting a precedent that future Brownfield agreements can be, I guess I wouldn't say shopped around, but used as collateral when developers are looking for more money?
I don't know, Steve, this is Cheryl. I don't know if this is in addition to what was originally submitted. As we spoke earlier, I'm not that intimately, wasn't that intimately involved with the original agreement as far as their financing and all the stuff that gets put together and was vetted through the Brownfield board. I don't know that they're using the Brownfield as collateral. I know that's part of it, but it's really just like a construction loan. So I don't know that this would tie our hands or really make that much difference to the board when we're deciding that there's so many other factors that we use that you'll become familiar with when we talk about any of our agreements that we make with future developers, incentives that we use. We have a handful of them, and it does go through a very long vetting process before we decide who we're going to use or who we're going to accept as bringing a Brownfield project into the city.
And that makes sense. I guess my only concern was that down the road we would have developers or builders coming to us before having their financing figured out, getting an agreement with the Brownfield for their redevelopment, and then going back to work out their financing. And if that's nothing that we will see in the future, then that, I guess, alleviates my concern.
I don't think it is, because we are requiring them to bring their financing forward before we approve a Brownfield. So they can't really just come to the Brownfield and say, I have this idea, do you guys approve? And then we vote on it. The vetting process is pretty significant in terms of looking for financials. I know these guys have also gone to the state and requested some school funds, and the state is extremely stringent on giving funds out or saying that you can capture state funds before putting a project together. So while it might on the surface look like the scenario that you're saying, I'm probably about 98% certain that that's not the case. I didn't see it personally, but I'm sure that they brought their funding sources to the board and said, this is where we're going to get our funds. And I'm sure that they also took them to the state because, as I said, the state is extremely conscientious when they're going through these kind of agreements. If they're going to give out school board money, they want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row.
Okay.
Just to back up, I know this is from 2016. This is the site pretty much across the street, correct?
Yeah, this is where the old Save a Lot, where you already see the development starting.
Oh, so it's actually further. It's
Yeah.
on that side.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
like across from Western.
Got it. And they had a phase 1, and they've actually expanded to phase 2, or
Okay. Those details I don't know. Sorry.
I'm just trying to, just since I don't have that information in front of me, I'm just curious.
It was the Save-A-Lot, and it was functionally obsolete.
Right,
So,
right.
So you're saying phase 1 financing or phase 2 financing?
No, I'm talking the development. Yeah. There's a certain, from what I can recall, there was a certain amount of units within their first phase of implementation.
You know, I have all that documentation upstairs. I didn't bring it with me. I just kind of brought our agreements.
Yeah.
After the meeting, if you want, we can go upstairs and we can pull
Sure.
that out and look at it.
Okay.
questions?
And because that would, the context of the volume of money is within this plan as well, so.
Okay.
I have another question. And I don't know if we have the answer to it because I think you said the documents were upstairs. Do we know if any of the eligible expenses that will be reimbursed in the Brownfield agreement are tied specifically to Ferndale 9 Living's use of the building? Like, let's say if they were defaulted on by the bank and now the building is sitting vacant, was any of that eligible expense specific to that building being used for Ferndale 9's purpose?
Cheryl? That was a question, go ahead.
Mixing Ferndale 9 with Ferndale House. It's two different.
This is the apartments down that way, not.
Oh,
Ferndale 9 is over
did I
here.
confuse him?
No, I don't know if Steve heard the whole thing.
Yeah, I think you may be confusing two sites.
And I may have,
the
I may
one-
have
the
been
one,
confusing too, because I thought
west
this was
of-
Save-A-Lot.
Yeah, the one west of, on the Save-A-Lot site did not have contaminants, it was obsolete. As opposed to the one on the east side of 9 Mile, there were some tanks from what I can recall, so there were some environmental, so it's.
There was some asbestos abatement that had to be done.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Right. So I don't think that the issue that you raised comes into play on this particular site in this plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? Cheryl? In my mind, it looks pretty straightforward to me. So, if we don't have any other questions, then we'll accept a motion if whether we want to agree to allow the assignment to continue on. The recommended action is therefore somebody would have to read it and or make a motion.
I make a motion to approve that the Ferndale Brownfield Redevelopment Authority approve the security agreement as presented and forwarded to the City Council.
Seconded.
Do a formal vote on it?
Tobar?
Yes.
Let's see, Weiner?
Yes.
Looking, who's it? Johnston?
I vote yes.
And Stahl.
Yes.
Okay. Carries.
All right, motion is carried. Having said that, any other items to discuss in today's meeting? I'll leave the floor is open.
Any public comment?
All right, having heard it, we'll have the meeting come to a close then.
So moved.
Oh, do I? No? I'll reopen the meeting.